Hello there, Commonwealth from here. And as you all know, we're entering a new Nintendo generation, and with it, a new Zelda generation. The big question though is, will we in the very beginning, that is to say Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, see anything Zelda in it? And could it be bigger than the basic expectations? As such, be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press notification bell, and we'll explore in what position we are likely in. The Legend of Zelda has had 2 years in a row with brand new Zelda games, coming out back to back. Tears of the Kingdom, yes, it was delayed from 2022, but also, the year after, Echoes of Wisdom in 2024. In other words, we are very likely in for a break in 2025, at least when it comes to brand new Zelda games. We could still end up getting a Zelda release, it's just that it's not going to be a brand new one, in the sense of from the ground up. And while everything is pointing towards either Breath of the Wild 4K, which we have code names, we have leaks dating back all the way to 2023, we also have Ocarina of Time 4K, which some people are saying it's better saved for the 40th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda next year in 2026. But the one thing I want to talk about is the next Legend of Zelda game. The game that, in many ways, has a big job to do after Tears of the Kingdom, let's be honest, had mixed reception, especially within the community. Because while it, from a gameplay perspective, is an amazing, truly amazing video game, it has some issues here and there, and as a result, to kind of mend and bring back excitement for the franchise, could it be a good idea for the Zelda team to reveal, as they usually do, the next Zelda game as early as possible, or at least tease it in some form? Personally, I was against this idea. I thought that it will just distract away from whatever Zelda game they have this year, whether it's Ocarina of Time 4K or Breath of the Wild 4K, more likely the latter. But at the same time, I've been thinking that Tears of the Kingdom, the slow sales of that game after the initial weeks and months, could benefit maybe from having the next Zelda project revealed as early as now. Of course, it's not even been 2 years since Tears of the Kingdom came out, so by all indications it should be too early. Showing a concept, or at least sharing ideas about the next Zelda game, is not something that is really that strange when one thinks about it. Because a little over a year after Skyward Sword came out, we got our first hints of the brand new Zelda game that was coming to the Wii U, what turned into Breath of the Wild, where Eiji Aonuma pointed out that they want to get away with linearity and provide more non-linearity, and also playing by yourself. Like, I'm not sure if that last one really came into fruition, but it was a sharing of ideas, a sharing of concepts. And then he went on to reveal The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD, which I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to do maybe something similar than that. Like, this is the bare minimum, of course, if we get anything. That is just sharing what is the idea and changes that the Zelda team are currently working on for the game that will be coming out in end of 2028, or more likely 2029, 2030. We all know that a brand new Zelda game requires a new setting, it requires a new art style, because when you run your course through 2 generations and having the same art style, that being the Wii U and the Switch, then it's time for a change. And I don't think many people are really aware of how significant of a change this next generation Zelda will be. It's not just that it's going to be most likely in upscaled 4K, it's also the fact that it will look drastically different. By all indications, a brand new Link and Zelda, that story is concluded, and the Zelda team made that very clear after Tears of the Kingdom, and it could provide, for the first time in quite a while, a 3D Zelda game that is not set above, on, or underneath Hyrule. And in fact, we have to go 25 years back for last time that was the instance with Majora's Mask. In fact, that's the only time that we've had a 3D Zelda game that was not set in Hyrule. So if that is the big goal, and I wouldn't call it gimmick, but at least a premise of the game, then why wouldn't you share that right away? Like, it could create excitement that we're not just doing Hyrule again, we're not doing Ganondorf again. Instead, we're taking Link to a new location, and not for his second adventure, but his first one. And that is in fact something that hasn't really been done, apart from Spirit Tracks, where you had a Link that of course was set in New Hyrule. But of course that was still New Hyrule. While here we have the possibility of just taking Link out into a brand new setting. Maybe a kingdom as well, but a different one. One where you could have a Zelda, but who isn't the Princess of Hyrule, but rather of a different land. And it's these kind of things that I have a feeling that if they are making big changes to the franchise, this is what you would like to kind of tease in a Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. All while also revealing either Breath of the Wild 4K or Ocarina of Time 4K, because let's be honest, they're not going to reveal both at the same time. That's not going to happen. The best we can hope for is a remaster that is coming out this year in 2025 and a first tease of the brand new Zelda game. A shocker, just like we saw in 2019, a little over 2 years after The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and even less than that after the final DLC for that game. The Zelda team likes to surprise. They also like us to wait very long from reveal to release. And if we count from 2025, so where we are, like April 2nd is, I wouldn't say it's mid. It's definitely not mid 2025. It's still early 2025, but it's in the new fiscal year. And with us being in the new fiscal year of Nintendo, which is starting the day before, I could see them actually giving us a tease and hint of what to expect 4 years from now. And of course it could just be through sharing ideas, as I've mentioned so far, but it could also be through a teaser trailer. Because how did they reveal Tears of the Kingdom? Through a teaser trailer. Or at least sharing some artwork, the new art style of Zelda for this generation. Saying goodbye to the one that we've gotten used to with Breath of the Wild 4K, and welcoming the new one that is still 3 to 4 years later down the line. And using the next couple of years to let us get more and more accustomed to this new setting, this new Link, to this new art style, and so on. I think it would have been probably the big showstopper of the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, and something that could get people to, yeah, I didn't want to get Breath of the Wild 4K, but I'm gonna get the Nintendo Switch 2 with it after all, because the new Zelda that is later down the line looks stupendous. In a way, using the Next Zelda game to get Zelda fans to not only get the Nintendo Switch 2 right away, but also Breath of the Wild 4K. And of course, it's going to be even easier to convince people to get a Nintendo Switch 2 if you give a free upgrade, like we saw in the case of Final Fantasy VII Remake, from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but yeah, it's one of my hopes. But I only think this possibility exists if The Legend of Zelda is leaving Hyrule, at least for this game. A brand new setting that we know literally nothing about, and they will not explain anything, allowing for massive theorizing, massive speculation, and what's more, excitement, hype for the future of The Legend of Zelda, which will be hard to convey if it's just Breath of the Wild 4K, like all the indications are pointing to. But if you can create excitement for something that is years away, and I mean late 2028, maybe even early 2030 or somewhere in between, then you have already hooked pretty much everyone for this generation. Because yes, The Legend of Zelda is not going to have a brand new game, at least not in a 3D art style, for a long while. Like, personally, I think the next new Zelda game that we'll be able to play ourselves will be the next top-down or 2D Zelda game from Grezzo, which, if we look at the development cycle and say that it takes half the time of an open-air Zelda game, I think we could be playing it in 2027. Maybe if we're lucky in 2026, but it depends how long Echoes of Wisdom was finished before it was revealed and launched in 2024. But this video isn't about the next 2D Zelda game, because that one is going to be revealed a few months before launch. 3D Zelda games and open-air Zelda games get revealed years, and then I mean years ahead of the launch. And it's because of this that I think we have right to have a little bit of hype for this Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, also when it comes to a reveal or at least tease of a brand new Zelda game, or the next proper open-air Zelda game, but also see it more as a positive surprise if it happens, because going into this, there's just so many other ways they can reveal it. If there's a June Direct, for example, well, then maybe that is a more fitting setting for it, while focusing on Breath of the Wild 4K in this one. We all know that if there's a brand new 3D Mario game coming out for the 40th anniversary of that franchise, it's going to be revealed in the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. And having that alongside Mario Kart, it's going to sell no matter what. So you don't really need brand new Zelda, but if you want Zelda to have sales in the 20s and 30s of millions of copies, I think it would be a wise choice to already now give us a first look But what do you think about all of this? Do you think that the Zelda team is ready to show anything of the next Zelda game, even when it comes to ideas or concept art? Or do you think that they have reached already quite a point thanks to the fact that they didn't make any DLC for Tears of the Kingdom and as a result have had time to focus fully on the next Zelda game? I want to hear your replies in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell. Last but not least, a big thanks to you for watching until the very end, and to all our patreon.com/comearound patrons. Special shoutouts go to Royal Producer JC Funk and Heroes, Cheryl, Garrett Hoy, Holly Wolf, and Kintaro. You all rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.